I'd like to talk about the joy of being and how there really truly is a treasure trove inside of us. We're a wellspring of Source. We're an expression of Source, just as we are in every given moment. This is how Source is looking now, and now, and now, and now. But what is always the same, while everything is changing around us and within? And that which is always the same is a fountain of beauty and delight in itself. It delights in itself. And so that self-delight is pleasurable, blissful, is what people call Satchidananda. It's the Ananda part, the bliss, inherent in every moment, right in the middle, right in the center of the unchanging self. That unmovable center, it has self-delight when it becomes self-realized to itself, when it realizes itself, and consciousness turns its attention away from the outward world and finding its resolution in itself in the outward world, and it discovers that it's always been the source of everything. Then there's this delighting in. And sometimes it feels quiet in the background, in the midst of your daily life, because awareness does get taken by where it puts attention to. So attention goes on the outside to do the things we have to do, and consciousness goes there and focuses. All the while there's this sweet underlying sense of beingness that's always there. Perhaps you've noticed. It just takes a noticing what's always there. It doesn't always feel a certain way, right? But when attention is put on beingness itself, on that which is paying attention, it turns around and pays attention to itself, to its own source. Because we have bodies, we can have the felt sensation of how beingness feels in a body. And of course, it feels like everything, including suffering. There's nothing separate going on here, so it's all one thing. But without having layers of story, there's something that's the closest to home, the closest felt sensation to home is joy. Whatever description you want to give it. And as I said, sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes the volume gets turned up, and it's very blissful. It just permeates our being, and we become a prayer of self-delight, delighting in self, self-delighting in self. And giving ourselves permission to be allowing for the beauty that we are to emerge and to feel into it is an act of self-love. Oftentimes we have feelings of unworthiness. Am I worthy enough to feel this self-love? And it doesn't have to do with worthiness. Worthiness is really not part of the equation. Worthiness is part of the imagination. Worthy and unworthy. Am I worthy of being free? Why are other people saying that they have this sense of the seeker stopping and settling down into their beingness? And why am I not there? Unworthiness stories can emerge, and at times we feel worthy. Now I'm worthy. I've done all this work on myself and all these workshops. It doesn't have to do with that. That's part of the imagination that falls away. Thankfully, falls away. Truth is before that. The stories, they arise, they come and go, and overlay what is constant, what we always are. And what always is so much, it's so complete that it doesn't have a story of worthiness and unworthiness. And so it is a joy upon itself. It doesn't feel like it needs to gain anything to be itself. It is complete and whole already. And like I said, then this joy arises, this fountain. It's really a fountain. It's like it emerges from source and it arises out. And the first movement of that before it becomes something, another feeling, another thought, another baby, another something being built, art project, anything creative. It's all creativity. It's pure potential becoming creative. It is creativity. So before that movement of the word, the word and the Om singing itself into existence, closer than that, right before nothingness, which can't be described or explained. It's just, you have to know that for yourself. There's this joy in pure beingness, and those are words, but it's a felt sensation in the body, and it permeates the whole body. Just let it permeate yourself. Just feel the joy of being, the simple joy of being. Have it permeate your fingers and your belly, all through the cells, and a gentle massage of delight and self-recognition, self-recognizing itself. It just loves itself. It is naturally in love with itself. It doesn't have to do anything. It is itself. And when it has a sense of itself being itself, there's this delight, like a baby being delighted. Here I am, without the I being there, just am. The song, the eternal song of life singing to itself. Seems like all of life likes to sing to itself, the birds. All of life is in delight with itself. And for some reason, human beings have a capacity to self-reflect and to have awareness of the self. And that meeting ground, that awareness, that self-awareness is delightful. And it gets to reflect on it, even talk about it. be it, express it through poetry, dance, art, in so many ways, right? Loving others, taking care, caring about the world and its inhabitants and all creatures. It's an act of self-love. And there's no need to hold back being in love with yourself. And then you can put a capital S and have self, the big self, the larger self is in love with all of aspects of itself, including the sense of I. And then there's this joy that arises in being a particular somebody, the preciousness and the unique quality of being a particular somebody, rather than being a painful thing, because you feel separate from the whole. You know that the whole knows itself as the whole, and then being the particular within that is then enjoyed and embraced.